The once vibrant blue marble called Earth had faded to a sickly brown. From the crumbling observation deck of Lunar Base Alpha, Commander Elena Chen watched her homeworld with a mixture of sorrow and determination. The last vestiges of green were barely visible beneath swirling dust storms and patches of pollution. "Commander, the latest reports from Earth Central," Lieutenant Raj Patel said, handing her a datapad. His usual cheerful demeanor was subdued, matching the somber mood that permeated the base. Zora's dark eyes scanned the information, her frown deepening with each swipe. Crop yields down to 15% of previous levels. Water tables critically low. Air quality in major cities reaching toxic levels. It was the same story, just with worse numbers. "How much longer can we hold out, Raj?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Raj shook his head. "At current rates, maybe a year. 2 if we implement extreme rationing." Zara clenched her fist, fighting back the wave of despair threatening to overwhelm her. Humanity had known this was coming for decades, but greed and short-sightedness had won out over reason. Now, 7 billion lives hung in the balance. "We can't give up," Zara said, more to herself than to Raj. "There has to be a solution. We've overcome impossible odds before." A klaxon suddenly blared through the base, startling them both. Red warning lights flashed as the A's calm voice echoed through the corridors. "Attention all personnel. Unknown objects detected entering lunar orbit. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill." Zara and Raj exchanged a look of surprise before sprinting towards the command center. They arrived to find organized chaos as technicians and officers scrambled to their stations. "Report," Zara barked as she took her place at the central holographic display. "Multiple objects, Commander," replied Senior Technician Maya Wang, her fingers flying over her console. "They just appeared out of nowhere. No warning from our long-range sensors." The holographic display flickered to life, showing a swarm of sleek, silver objects moving into a precise formation around the moon. They were unlike any spacecraft Zara had ever seen, with smooth organic curves that seemed to defy conventional engineering. "Are they alive?" Raj wondered aloud, voicing the thought on everyone's mind. Before anyone could respond, a new alert sounded. Maya's eyes widened as she read the incoming data. "Commander, we're receiving a transmission. It's being broadcast on all frequencies, in every language on Earth." Zara took a deep breath, steeling herself. This was the moment humanity had both dreamed of and feared for centuries. "Put it through," she ordered. The speakers crackled, and a voice unlike any they had ever heard filled the command center. It was melodious yet alien, conveying emotions and concepts that seemed just beyond human comprehension. "People of Earth," the voice began, "we come in peace and with purpose. Your world cries out in pain, and we have heard its call across the stars. We are the gardeners, and we offer you a choice, salvation or extinction." A stunned silence fell over the command center. Zara's mind raced, trying to process the implications of this announcement. After a moment, she found her voice. "This is Commander Elena Chen of Lunar Base Alpha. We hear you, gardeners. What exactly are you offering?" There was a pause before the alien voice responded. "Your species stands at a crossroads. Your planet is dying, poisoned by centuries of neglect and abuse. We possess the knowledge and technology to heal your world, to restore its balance, and give humanity a second chance." Murmurs of hope and disbelief rippled through the command center. Zara held up a hand for silence, her analytical mind already considering the potential consequences. "And what would be the cost of this second chance?" she asked cautiously. "The cost is change," the gardeners replied. "Humanity must learn to live in harmony with your world and with the greater galactic community. You must abandon the destructive practices that have brought you to this precipice. We will guide you, but the choice and the work must be yours." Zara exchanged glances with her team. The offer seemed too good to be true, but what choice did they have? Earth was dying, and with it, the human race. "We need time to discuss this with our leaders on Earth," Zyx'ara said, buying time to think. "Time is a luxury your planet no longer has," the gardeners responded, a note of urgency in their otherworldly voice. "But we understand the need for consensus. We will remain in orbit and await your decision. Choose wisely, for the fate of your species hangs in the balance." As the transmission ended, the command center erupted into a flurry of activity. Officers rushed to contact Earth Central, while technicians worked to gather every scrap of data they could on the alien vessels. Zyx'ara stood still amidst the chaos, her eyes fixed on the holographic display of Earth. The choice before humanity was monumental: trust these mysterious aliens and embrace radical change, or cling to independence and face almost certain extinction. "Raj," she said quietly, turning to her lieutenant, "get me a secure line to the Global Council, and prepare a shuttle. I have a feeling we're going to need boots on the ground for this one." As Reg hurried off to carry out her orders, Zyx'ara allowed herself a moment of hope. Perhaps this was the miracle they had been praying for. But even as that thought formed, another, darker one followed. What if this offer of salvation was just the prelude to something far worse? One thing was certain: the next few days would determine the fate of humanity, and Elena Chen was determined to ensure that fate was one of survival and triumph, no matter the odds. The shuttle descended through Earth's polluted atmosphere, buffeted by strong winds and swirling debris. Commander Elena Chen gripped her seat tightly, her eyes fixed on the approaching skyline of New Geneva, the headquarters of the Global Council. Beside her, Dr. Elena Volkov, Earth's leading xenobiologist, studied the latest data on the alien vessels. "It's remarkable," she mused, her Russian accent thickened by excitement. "Their biomechanical technology is centuries beyond our own. The potential applications for healing our planet are staggering." Zyx'ara nodded, but her mind was on the upcoming meeting. The Global Council had been deadlocked for hours, unable to reach a consensus on how to respond to the gardener's offer. It was hoped that Zyx'ara's first-hand account from Lunar Base Alpha might break the impasse. As the shuttle touched down on the landing pad, Zyx'ara saw a familiar face waiting for them. Adrian Torres, her old friend and now the Council's chief of security, greeted them with a grim smile. "Zyx'ara, Dr. Volkov, welcome to the madhouse," he said, leading them inside. "The Council's been at each other's throats since the aliens arrived. Half want to embrace the gardener's offer immediately, the others are convinced it's a trap." "And what do you think, Adrian?" Zyx'ara asked as they hurried through the corridors. Adrian's jaw tightened. "I think we're out of options, but I don't trust anyone who offers salvation without a catch." They entered the council chambers to find a heated debate in progress. Representatives from every nation on Earth were present, their faces etched with worry and fatigue. Commander Chen, Council President Amara Okafor called out, her powerful voice cutting through the din. "Please, share your observations with the Council." For the next hour, Zyx'ara recounted everything she had seen and heard, with Dr. Volkov providing scientific analysis. The Council listened intently, their questions ranging from the practical to the paranoid. "But how can we trust them?" demanded the Chinese representative. "For all we know, this could be the prelude to an invasion." Before Zyx'ara could respond, a commotion outside the chamber caught everyone's attention. Adrian burst in, his face pale. "Madam President, Council members, we have a situation. The gardeners, they're here." The chamber erupted into chaos as, moments later, 3 alien figures glided into the room. They were tall, slender beings with iridescent skin that seemed to shimmer with an inner light. Their large, multifaceted eyes took in the scene with what appeared to be curiosity. "Greetings, leaders of Earth," the central figure spoke, its voice resonating in their minds rather than their ears. "We are the gardeners, and we come to offer you hope." President Okafor, to her credit, recovered quickly from the shock. "We welcome you to Earth," she said, her voice steady. "Though we would have appreciated some warning of your arrival." The lead gardener tilted its head in what might have been apology. Time grows short. We sensed your indecision and felt a direct dialogue might be beneficial. For the next several hours, the council engaged in a tense but productive discussion with the gardeners. The aliens patiently answered questions, explaining their history as a race of healers and caretakers who had helped countless civilizations back from the brink of ecological disaster. Our methods are not without cost, the gardeners explained. The process of healing your world will be long and arduous. It will require sacrifices from every human. But the alternative is the slow death of your species and your planet. As the gardeners spoke, holographic images appeared, showing vibrant worlds teeming with life, worlds they claimed to have restored. The council members watched in awe, hope beginning to replace fear in their eyes. But Zyx'ara noticed something that others seemed to miss. Whenever the topic of other alien races came up, the gardeners became evasive. They spoke of a galactic community, but provided no concrete details about Earth's potential place in it. As the meeting drew to a close, President Okafor called for a vote. The result was nearly unanimous. Earth would accept the gardeners' help. "We have made our choice," Okafor announced. "Now, what is the first step in saving our world?" The lead gardener's skin pulsed with soft light. "The first step is to prepare your people. Change will not be easy, but it is necessary. We will begin by establishing terraforming stations at key points around your planet. These will start the process of cleansing your atmosphere and oceans." As the council broke into discussion routes to plan the announcement to the world, Zyx'ara pulled Adrian and Dr. Volkov aside. "Something doesn't feel right," she whispered. "They're hiding something about this galactic community of theirs." Adrian nodded, his security instincts on high alert. "I noticed that too. But what choice do we have? Earth is dying, Zyx'ara. We need their help." Dr. Volkov's eyes sparkled with a mix of scientific curiosity and concern. "Perhaps the truth is simply too complex for us to understand at this stage. Or perhaps—" She was interrupted by a sudden commotion. One of the junior council members, a young man from Brazil, had approached the gardeners with an outstretched hand, apparently attempting to shake hands in the human fashion. What happened next occurred so quickly that Zyx'ara almost missed it. As the man's hand neared the gardener, a look of alarm flashed across the alien's features. A shimmer passed over its skin, and the man stumbled back, clutching his hand in pain. I'm so sorry," the gardener said, its mental voice tinged with what sounded like genuine regret. "Our biochemistries are not compatible. Direct contact could be harmful to you." The incident was quickly smoothed over, but Zyx'ara, Adrian, and Elena exchanged meaningful glances. This was more than just a cultural misunderstanding. The gardeners were physically dangerous to humans, yet they had come to live among them and reshape their world. As the meeting adjourned and plans were made to announce the alliance to the world, Zyx'ara couldn't shake a growing sense of unease. Yes, the gardeners offered hope for a dying planet, but at what cost? And what weren't they telling humanity about its place in the wider galaxy? "We need to be careful," Zyx'ara murmured to her friends. "Earth's fate may depend on more than just healing our environment. We need to understand exactly what we're getting into." As they watched the gardeners glide out of the chamber, their shimmering forms a promise of both salvation and unknown peril, Zyx'ara made a silent vow. She would ensure humanity's survival, not just against the death of their planet, but against any threat, even if it came from their supposed saviors. The real challenge, it seemed, was just beginning. 6 months had passed since the gardeners' arrival, and Earth was a planet transformed. Massive terraforming stations hovered over each continent, their ethereal forms pulsing with energy as they purified air and water. The skies, once choked with pollution, now showed patches of clear blue. Commander Elena Chen stood on the observation deck of the newly constructed Terran Initiative headquarters in what used to be the Sahara Desert. Where once there was only sand, now a verdant oasis bloomed, fed by underground aquifers the gardeners had somehow rejuvenated. "It's incredible," Dr. Elena Volkov breathed, joining Zyx'ara at the window. In just half a year, they've undone centuries of damage. Zyx'ara nodded, but her expression remained guarded. Yes, but at what cost? The Terran Initiative had been formed as a joint human-Gardener task force to oversee Earth's restoration. But as the months progressed, tensions had begun to rise. The Gardeners' methods, while effective, were often at odds with human expectations and needs. Commander Chen, Dr. Volkov, a melodious voice echoed in their minds. They turned to see Zyx'ara, the Gardener liaison, gliding towards them. The Council is assembling for the progress report. Your presence is requested. As they made their way to the conference room, Zyx'ara couldn't help but notice the looks of awe and fear that humans gave Zyx'ara as they passed. The Gardener's inability to touch humans without causing harm had created a palpable distance between the two species. The conference room was a blend of human and Gardener technology, with holographic displays shimmering alongside more conventional screens. Adrian Torres, now the head of Earth's security forces, was already there, engaged in a heated discussion with several council members. We can't just abandon entire cities, he was saying as Zyx'ara entered. Millions of people call those places home. Zephyr's skin rippled with what Zyx'ara had come to recognize as concern. The urban centers are focal points of pollution and resource waste. For optimal planetary healing, they must be dismantled and their populations redistributed to more sustainable communities. President Okafor, looking more tired than Zyx'ara had ever seen her, tried to mediate. Surely there's a compromise. We understand the need for change, but we can't uproot entire populations overnight. The meeting continued in this vein for hours. For every problem the Gardeners solved, new challenges arose. Unemployment had skyrocketed as entire industries became obsolete overnight. Food distribution was a constant struggle as traditional agriculture gave way to more efficient but unfamiliar Gardener methods. As the arguments circled, Zyx'ara found her attention drawn to a series of reports on her datapad. Strange anomalies had been detected at the edges of the solar system. Unidentified objects, there one moment and gone the next. Dr. Volkov, Zyx'ara whispered, nudging her friend. What do you make of these readings? Elena's eyes widened as she studied the data. It could be instrument error, but if I didn't know better, I'd say we were being watched. Their quiet exchange was interrupted by a sudden commotion. A group of protesters had somehow breached the building's security, streaming into the conference room with signs decrying the Gardeners as alien overlords and false saviors. Adrian and his security team moved swiftly to contain the situation, but not before one protester got close enough to throw a makeshift explosive device towards the Gardeners. Without thinking, Zyx'ara lunged forward, catching the device and hurling it towards a containment field. The explosion was small but intense. As the smoke cleared, Zyx'ara found herself on the floor, her right arm seared with pain where it had brushed against Zephyr in the chaos. Commander Chen, Zephyr's mental voice was filled with distress. You are injured. Please, allow us to help. But as the Gardener reached out, Zyx'ara instinctively recoiled, the pain in her arm a stark reminder of the gulf between their species. In the aftermath of the attack, as medical teams tended to the injured and security protocols were heightened, Zyx'ara found herself in a quiet moment with Adrian and Elena. This can't go on, Adrian said, his voice low. The Gardeners may be saving our planet, but they're tearing our society apart. People are scared, angry. They feel like they've lost control of their own world. Elena nodded, her scientific objectivity warring with her human empathy. The Gardeners' methods are effective, but they're so alien. We need to find a way to bridge the gap, to make this transformation something humans can understand and embrace. Zyx'ara looked down at her bandaged arm, then out the window at the impossible green of the reborn desert. We need to take a more active role, she said, determination hardening her voice. The Terran Initiative can't just be about implementing Gardener tech. It needs to be a true collaboration, with humans shaping the future of our own planet. She turned to her friends, a plan already forming in her mind. Adrian, I want you to form a task force, recruit the best minds in psychology, sociology, and communications. We need to find a way to help humanity adapt to these changes without losing our identity. Elena, dig deeper into those anomalies at the edge of the solar system. If there are other alien species out there watching us, I want to know why. And see if you can get the gardeners to open up more about this galactic community they keep alluding to. As her friends nodded in agreement, Zyx'ara felt a renewed sense of purpose. Yes, the gardeners were saving Earth, but it was up to humanity to save itself. They had been given a second chance, and she was determined not to waste it. But even as she threw herself into this new mission, a part of Zyx'ara couldn't shake the feeling that they were all missing something crucial. The gardeners' reticence about the wider galaxy, the strange anomalies, the vast power they wielded so casually, it all added up to a mystery that tugged at the edges of her mind. As she looked out once more at the transformed landscape, Zyx'ara made a silent vow. She would ensure that humanity emerged from this crucible not just as survivors, but as active shapers of their own destiny. Whatever secrets the universe held, whatever challenges lay ahead, Earth and its people would be ready. The Terran Initiative was about to evolve into something far more than anyone, human or gardener, had anticipated. A year into the Terran Initiative, Earth was a planet caught between two worlds. Lush forests now covered areas once ravaged by deforestation. The oceans, clearer than they had been in centuries, teemed with resurgent marine life. But amidst this ecological rebirth, human society struggled to find its footing. Commander Elena Chen stood before the Global Council, her posture rigid as she delivered her report. The chamber, once a symbol of united human governance, now felt more like a battlefield. The Adaptation Task Force has made significant progress, Zyx'ara stated, gesturing to a holographic display. We've successfully integrated gardener terraforming techniques with traditional human agriculture in several regions, increasing food production while maintaining cultural practices. Murmurs of approval rippled through the assembly, but Zyx'ara wasn't finished. However, we're facing increasing resistance in urban centers. The proposed dismantling of major cities has led to protests and, in some cases, violence. President Okafor leaned forward, her brow furrowed. "What do you recommend, Commander?" Before Zyx'ara could respond, the chamber's doors burst open. Adrian Torres rushed in, his face pale with urgency. "Madam President, Council members, we have a situation. Our deep space monitoring stations have detected a massive energy signature entering the solar system." The room erupted into chaos. Zephyr, the gardener liaison, shimmered with what Zyx'ara had come to recognize as agitation. Impossible, the aliens' thoughts reverberated. They cannot have found this world so soon. Zyx'ara's eyes narrowed. "Who, Zephyr? Who has found us?" For a moment, the gardener seemed to struggle internally. Then, with a ripple of resignation, Zephyr spoke. "They are known as the Harvesters, a species that sees developing worlds as resources to be exploited. We have encountered them before." As if on cue, the chamber screens lit up with incoming transmissions from around the globe. Massive ships, dark and angular in contrast to the gardener's organic vessels, were appearing in skies worldwide. "People of Earth," a harsh, grating voice boomed across all frequencies. "Your world has been chosen. Prepare to serve the glory of the Harvester Imperium." The next few hours were a blur of activity. As the council scrambled to formulate a response, Zyx'ara found herself in an emergency meeting with Adrian, Elena, and a visibly distressed Zephyr. "Why didn't you warn us about them?" Zyx'ara demanded, her voice tight with controlled anger. Zephyr's form rippled with what might have been shame. "We had hoped. We believed we had hidden Earth's recovery from their sensors. The Harvesters seek out worlds on the brink, offering false salvation in exchange for resource extraction rights. Your planet was too far gone to interest them before. We never imagined they would detect our efforts so quickly." Elena, her scientific curiosity warring with fear, interjected. "But surely your technology is superior to theirs. Can't you simply drive them away?" The gardener's response was tinged with sadness. Our purpose is to nurture, not to wage war. We have defenses, yes, but the harvesters, their entire civilization is built on conquest and exploitation. We cannot match their military might. Adrian slammed his fist on the table. So you brought us back from the brink of extinction just to serve us up to these cosmic locusts. What the hell kind of saviors are you? Enough. Zora's voice cut through the tension. Assigning blame won't help us now. We need a plan. She turned to Zephyr. You say you can't fight them directly. Fine. But you spent a year teaching us your technology. Is there a way we can use it to defend ourselves? For the first time since she'd known the alien, Zora saw something like hope flicker across Zephyr's features. Perhaps, yes. Your adaptability, your capacity for innovation, it's unlike anything we've seen. If we combine gardener technology with human ingenuity. The next days were a frenzy of activity. As harvester ships took up positions around the globe, humanity prepared for a fight like no other in its history. Terraforming stations were hastily repurposed into planetary shield generators. The very nanites that had cleansed Earth's oceans were reprogrammed to target harvester technology. Zara found herself at the heart of it all, coordinating a defense that melded the best of both human and gardener capabilities. The Adaptation Task Force, originally created to help humans adjust to gardener methods, now worked around the clock to weaponize those same methods against the invaders. As the inevitable confrontation loomed, Zara stood with Adrian and Elena atop the Terran Initiative headquarters, watching the ominous shapes of harvester ships through gaps in the hastily erected energy shield. You know, Adrian said, a hint of his old humor creeping into his voice, a year ago I was worried about budget deficits and political squabbles. Now we're facing space invaders. Funny how things change. Elena nodded, her eyes never leaving the sky. We've come so far in such a short time. Whether we survive this or not, humanity will never be the same. Zara felt the weight of the moment pressing down on her. The fate of not just humanity, but of Earth itself, hung in the balance. Yet amidst the fear and uncertainty, she felt a fierce pride in what they had accomplished. Whatever happens, she said, her voice steady, we face it together. Human and gardener, we've remade this world. Now it's time to defend it. As if in response to her words, the sky lit up with the first salvos of the harvester's attack. Energy beams lanced down, meeting the shimmering barrier of the planetary shield. The battle for Earth had begun. In that moment, as alarms blared and the ground shook beneath them, Zara realized that this was more than just a fight for survival. It was humanity's chance to prove itself, to show the galaxy that they were more than just another species to be saved or exploited. Win or lose, Earth would never again be a passive player in cosmic events. The age of humanity's innocence was over. The era of their galactic citizenship had begun. The sky above Earth blazed with otherworldly light as harvester ships clashed with the planet's hastily constructed defenses. Commander Elena Chen stood in the Global Command Center, her eyes darting between holographic displays showing battles raging across the world. Status report, she barked, her voice steady despite the chaos surrounding her. Adrian Torres, his uniform disheveled from days without rest, responded quickly. The shields are holding at 60% capacity. We've managed to repel their first wave, but they're regrouping for another assault. Dr. Elena Volkov chimed in, her fingers flying over a console. The repurposed nanites are working better than expected. They're disabling harvester tech at an exponential rate, but the enemy is adapting quickly. Zara nodded, her mind racing through strategies. The combined human-gardener defense had surprised the harvesters, but she knew it wouldn't be enough. They needed something more, something unexpected. Zephyr, she called out to the gardener liaison, who was communing with the terraforming stations. Is there any way we can use the planet itself against them? The alien's form shimmered with what Zara had come to recognize as intense concentration. Perhaps, yes. The restoration process has made Earth's systems more responsive. If we can synchronize our efforts with the planet's natural rhythms. Understanding dawned on Zyx'ara's face. We turn Earth into a weapon. The next hours were a blur of frantic activity. As Harvester forces pushed against their defenses, Zyx'ara coordinated a daring plan. Gardener terraforming technology, guided by human intuition and Earth's own resurgent biosphere, was repurposed on a massive scale. In the Amazon, reawakened plant life grew at an astonishing rate, entangling Harvester ground forces in a living trap. Across the American plains, tornadoes of unprecedented size were seeded and steered into enemy formations. In the Mediterranean, tidal forces were amplified to swamp low-flying attack craft. But the Harvesters were relentless. For every ship disabled, 2 more took its place. The planetary shield flickered dangerously as it absorbed blow after punishing blow. "We can't keep this up forever," Adrian shouted over the din of alarms. "We need to take out their command ship." Zyx'ara's eyes locked onto the massive vessel looming in low orbit, its dark bulk a malevolent presence against the stars. An idea, dangerous and desperate, formed in her mind. "Elena, how many of our satellites are still operational?" The scientist blinked in surprise. "About 40%, but what does that have to do with?" Her eyes widened as she grasped Zyx'ara's plan. "You can't be serious. The odds of success are astronomical." "So were the odds of us lasting this long," Zyx'ara countered. She turned to Zephyr. "Can your people get me up there?" The gardener's form pulsed with concern. "It is possible, but the risk." "The risk is worth it," Zyx'ara cut in. "This ends now, one way or another." What followed was the most audacious operation in human history. As the battle raged across the globe, a small team led by Zyx'ara was launched into orbit aboard a hybrid craft of human and gardener design. Using the debris field of destroyed satellites as cover, they approached the Harvester command ship. Zyx'ara, encased in a suit enhanced with gardener biotech, led the infiltration. The inside of the Harvester vessel was a nightmarish blend of organic and mechanical components, pulsing with malevolent energy. "Remember," Zyx'ara subvocalized to her team, "plant the disruptors at key points. Once they're activated, we'll have minutes to get clear." Fighting through the ship's defenses was like battling a living organism, but slowly, surely they made progress. One by one, the disruptors were placed, devices that would turn the Harvester's own energy systems against them. As Zyx'ara planted the final disruptor in what appeared to be the ship's core, a massive figure loomed behind her. She turned to face what could only be the Harvester commander, a towering being of twisted flesh and gleaming metal. "Foolish human," it growled, its voice like grinding gears. "Did you think we would not detect your pitiful attempt at sabotage?" Zyx'ara stood her ground, a smirk playing at the corners of her mouth. "Detect it. I was counting on it." With that, she activated the disruptor, but instead of the focused detonation they had planned, Zyx'ara had recalibrated the device to overload spectacularly. The ship's core began to pulse erratically, energy arcing wildly. "All units, clear out now," Zyx'ara yelled, dodging a swipe from the enraged Harvester commander. She sprinted through the twisting corridors, the ship shuddering around her. The escape was a blur of chaos and desperation. As Zyx'ara's team jettisoned away from the command ship, its hull began to buckle and tear. The resulting explosion lit up the sky brighter than the sun, sending a shockwave through the Harvester fleet. Back on Earth, shears erupted in command centers across the globe as Harvester ships began to fall into disarray. Without central coordination, their fearsome military machine crumbled. As Zyx'ara's craft re-entered the atmosphere, she watched in awe as the combined forces of humanity and the gardeners pressed their advantage. Harvester ships were disabled or driven off in droves. Those that survived fled, jumping to hyperspace in a retreat that marked the end of their invasion. Hours later, as the dust settled and the true scale of their victory became clear, Zyx'ara stood with Adrian, Elena, and Zephyr, watching the sun rise over a scared but unbroken Earth. "We did it," Adrian breathed, disbelief and joy warring in his voice. We actually did it. Elena nodded, tears in her eyes. Not just survived. We proved ourselves. To the gardeners, to the galaxy, to ourselves. Zephyr's form shimmered with what Zyx'ara now recognized as profound respect. You have achieved something unprecedented. Never before has a species risen to such a challenge so quickly. The galaxy will take notice. Zyx'ara took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the future settling on her shoulders, and will be ready for them. Whatever comes next, humanity faces it as part of the galactic community, as equals. As the first rays of sunlight painted the sky in hues of hope, Zyx'ara knew that this was more than just a victory. It was the dawn of a new era for Earth and humanity. The stars, once distant and unreachable, now beckoned with infinite possibilities. The great stand was over. Humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning. 5 years had passed since the Battle of Earth, and the planet was almost unrecognizable. The scars of the Harvester invasion had been healed, replaced by a harmonious blend of nature and technology that would have seemed impossible just a decade ago. Commander Elena Chen, now Admiral Chen of the newly formed Earth Defense Fleet, stood on the observation deck of Harmony Station, a massive orbital facility that served as humanity's gateway to the stars. Beside her, holographic displays showed scenes from across the globe and beyond. "It's remarkable how far we've come," said Dr. Elena Volkov, now the head of the Terran Gardner Scientific Exchange. She gestured to an image of a sprawling city, its gleaming spires interwoven with lush greenery. New Eden. Once it was Mumbai, now it's a model for sustainable urban living across the planet. Adrian Torres, recently appointed as Earth's first galactic ambassador, nodded in agreement. And it's not just Earth. Our first extrasolar colony on Proxima Centauri B is thriving. Who would have thought we'd go from the brink of extinction to interstellar civilization in less than a decade? Zyx'ara smiled, but her eyes held a hint of caution. We've made incredible progress, but we can't forget the challenges ahead. The galaxy is a big place, filled with wonders and dangers we're only beginning to understand. As if to emphasize her point, a new hologram flickered to life, showing a sleek vessel of unfamiliar design approaching the station. "Right on schedule," Zyx'ara murmured. "Shall we greet our guests?" The group made their way to the docking bay, joined by Zephyr and a delegation of human and Gardner officials. As the airlock cycled open, Zyx'ara felt a familiar mix of excitement and apprehension. The beings that emerged were unlike anything they had encountered before. Tall, crystalline structures that seemed to flow like liquid, their bodies refracting light in mesmerizing patterns. The leader stepped forward, its voice resonating directly in their minds. "Greetings, people of Earth. We are the Harmonists. We come seeking dialogue and exchange." Adrian stepped forward, his diplomatic training kicking in. "On behalf of Earth and the Terran Gardner Alliance, we welcome you to our system." As introductions were made and formalities observed, Zyx'ara couldn't help but reflect on the incredible journey that had brought them to this point. The near death of their world, the arrival of the Gardeners, the desperate battle against the Harvesters, each challenge had forged humanity into something new, something greater. Later, as they showed their visitors around the station, Zyx'ara found herself in conversation with the Harmonist leader. "Your species intrigues us, the crystalline being communicated. So young, yet you've already overcome trials that have broken older civilizations. The Gardeners speak highly of your potential." Zyx'ara nodded, choosing her words carefully. "We've been fortunate in our teachers and our trials, but we know we still have much to learn." The Harmonists seemed to shimmer with approval. Wisdom and humility, rare qualities in a rising power. Perhaps you truly are the fulcrum our galaxy has long awaited. Before Zyx'ara could inquire further about this cryptic statement, they were interrupted by an urgent call from Earth's surface. A holographic image of a young scientist appeared, her eyes wide with excitement. "Admiral Chen, we've done it. The Mars terraforming project, it's working even better than we hoped. At this rate, the red planet will be habitable within a decade." As congratulations and excited chatter broke out among the humans and gardeners, Zyx'ara noticed the harmonists exchanging meaningful glances. She was once again reminded that every achievement, every step forward, was being watched and evaluated by forces beyond their comprehension. That evening, as the diplomatic reception wound down, Zyx'ara found herself alone on the observation deck, gazing out at the star-studded void. Earth hung below, a jewel of blue and green and swirling white, more vibrant and alive than it had been in centuries. She felt, rather than heard, Zephyr approach. The gardener's thoughts gently touched her mind. "You seem troubled, Admiral. Are you not pleased with all that has been accomplished?" Zyx'ara sighed, turning to face her alien friend. "I am. More than I can express. It's just, I can't shake the feeling that this is only the beginning. That there are greater challenges, greater wonders waiting for us out there." Zephyr's form rippled in what Zyx'ara had come to recognize as amusement. "You are correct, of course. The galaxy is vast, and the universe vaster still. But take pride in how far you've come. From a dying world to a rising power in the cosmic community, humanity's journey has only just begun." As if to punctuate Zephyr's words, a brilliant light streaked across the starfield, Earth's first faster-than-light vessel, departing on its maiden voyage of exploration. Zyx'ara felt a swell of emotion, pride, hope, and a touch of apprehension for the unknown future. "Well," she said, a smile tugging at her lips, "we'd better make sure we're ready for whatever comes next." As human and gardener stood side by side, watching humanity take its first true steps into the cosmic ocean, the observation deck was filled with a sense of infinite possibility. Earth had been given a second chance, and its people were determined to make the most of it. The challenges ahead were daunting, the mysteries of the universe vast and inscrutable. But humanity had proven its resilience, its capacity for growth and adaptation. Whatever the galaxy held in store, be it wonders or perils, Earth and its people would face it together as part of a greater cosmic community. As the starship vanished into the depths of space, Elena Chen knew that this was not an ending, but a beginning. Humanity's greatest adventure, their true destiny among the stars, was just unfolding. The dawn of a new era had truly begun.